There are more than 20 unsolved homicides involving Beaver County. Annette Tokarz was found drowned in a creek in a Hopewell Township park. Heidi Morningstar was abducted from her Ambridge home and found dead in Allegheny County. David-Legge's killer attempted to conceal his shooting death by tossing him over the side of a bridge. And Marvin Stills was executed and left in the middle of a Center Township road. Who killed these people and why? Detectives here at the Beaver County Courthouse, along with state and local police, still hope to close these cases and many more, but they need people to come forward with information. I'm LeVar McBride, and this is Cold Case Beaver County.
911, what is your emergency?
You got 3 people of interest still say, I do. 3 people of interest, then you get that blank face.
Now that's why nobody really knows if she is dead or alive.
You were set free and you were set free to go kill.
We've never gotten that one break. We've never gotten that one break. You know, we will though.
23-year-old Annette Tokarz was found partially clad and drowned in 8 inches of water in a creek in Lakewood Park in Hopewell Township on March 6, 1974. She had other injuries on her body, and the pathologist at the time theorized that she may have been unconscious when she was thrown into the creek. Tokar's mother told police she had last seen her daughter the day before her body was discovered, and she had talked about going to counseling for an alcohol problem. At the time of her death, Tokarz had been living in a motel in Bridgewater. Hours before her death, witnesses saw Tokarz in a number of locations in Beaver Falls, Ambridge, and Aliquippa. Police learned Tokarz had left a bar with a man named Alex. Through the investigation, the man identified as Alex was actually named Cornelius McCoy. Police interviewed McCoy, who admitted to seeing Tokarz out that night, but claimed to have had little interaction with her. A witness, however, saw McCoy drive her out of Aliquippa's Plan 11 neighborhood. Despite interviewing a number of witnesses, the investigation stalled, but police still consider McCoy, who has since died, the main suspect in the case. Heidi Morningstar was only 12 years old when she disappeared from her Ambridge home on September 17, 1976. Heidi's parents left the house late that night because a family member had been in a car accident not far from the family's Church Street home. When her parents returned several hours later, the kitchen door was ajar and Heidi was gone. An overturned shopping cart, a screen that had been moved, and a muddy footprint inside the house led police to believe that's how the attacker entered the house, because the Morningstars had locked the door before they left. Heidi's body was found by a garbage crew more than a day later, just outside of Beaver County in Edgeworth. She was lying on the lawn of an estate. Her hands had been bound and her mouth was covered by bandanas. She died of asphyxia. 3 men, Paul Nazarevich, Robert Whiteleather, and William Decker, were charged with Morningstar's death. The charges were dismissed in 1982 after the Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruled that the prosecution's star witness could not give her testimony in trial. The woman, Pamela Wilfong, had given her initial statements to police under hypnosis, which the court said was inadmissible. Also, the woman who claimed she was present when Heidi was killed had been under the influence of mind-altering drugs when the murder was committed. Without Wilfong's testimony, the case fell apart and new charges were never filed against anyone. Ambridge resident David-Legge was 32 when a hunter checking his raccoon and fox traps found him hanging from underneath the Lynx Bridge on January 6, 1982 in Independence Township. Legge had been shot twice in the neck, and police believe his killer tried to toss his body over the bridge into the water below. The attempt to hide the crime failed when Legge's leg became entangled in the bridge. Investigators determined Legge had been shot inside his van. They found his van in Ambridge the day after his body was discovered, but do not know when the shooting occurred or where the van was when it happened. Legge was known to be a heavy gambler, and police learned that he took bets for other people. The suspect in the case owed Legge $6,000. The suspect failed a polygraph, but there was no physical evidence to connect him to the killing, and the man's wife provided an alibi for him. Marvin Stills was found shot to death and lying in the middle of Temple Road in Center Township. Stills, who was from Aliquippa, had been shot 3 times, and 2 of the shots pierced his heart. In the hours before he was found dead, Stills had been seen at a bar called the Champagne in Aliquippa. Witnesses saw Stills arguing with 2 men there, and one of the men had drawn a gun during the argument. Stills then left the bar and went to another bar, the Swingers Lounge, where he argued with another man. Police learned Stills got into a car with 2 men, and they believe he was taken to Temple Road where he was executed. In addition to the arguments that occurred just before he was killed, police have other possible motives for the crime. Police learned Stills had knowledge of a bank robbery and was supposed to be holding money for someone, but spent it instead. Police also learned some of his associates were unhappy with his behavior.